Good evening. Here we are again. Please be seated. Let us pray. Gracious Redeemer, we're so grateful that you bring us together to be the church, that we know the grace of your Son, Jesus Christ, and the power of his Spirit. So be with us now and guide us in your wisdom. Open our eyes and ears and hearts to your presence, and help us to listen well to one another. In Jesus' name, amen.
So, moderator, the agenda has been moved and seconded and is before you.
Any discussion? The agenda's there. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And we have one request for leaves and withdrawals.
Okay,
Again, moved and seconded.
great. It's there. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
What are we starting with? Bills and overtures, please.
Moderator, my name is Amanda Curry. I'm from the Presbyterian of Assiniboia, but you already know that because you've heard my name way too many times already. Unfortunately, I'm the convener of the Committee on Bills and Overtures, so I'm here. The purpose of this committee is to receive documents transmitted to the Assembly, such as petitions, unreferred overtures, references, and appeals, and to prepare recommendations regarding how the Assembly might process them. The committee met by video conference on April 28th to receive and consider 7 unreferred overtures. We collaborated by email to consider one additional overture that was discovered that had not been distributed with the rest. Additionally, we received and considered one corrective case by email as well. Just to summarize and remind commissioners of the themes of those overtures, Overtures 4, 6, and 10 relate to the 2025 International Affairs Committee report, with each one asking for a slightly different intervention regarding that report. Overtures 5, 8, and 11 request the restoration of previous levels of funding to the theological colleges. Overture 7 asks for a review and clear guidance on the calculation of congregational dollar bases. Overture 9 requests a review of the current sick leave policy to ensure that it meets the minimum requirements of Canadian WorkSafe and employment standards legislation. And finally, corrective case number 1 asks the Assembly to respond to a complaint about how the Presbytery of West Toronto handled an allegation of sexual abuse or sexual harassment. It is not the role of this committee to evaluate the merits of the overtures or to provide a response to them. Our role is to ensure that they are in proper form and expressed in proper language, and that they are properly transmitted, and that they are legitimately the business of the Assembly. And if that is the case, the committee's task is to recommend to which special or standing committee, council, or board they should be referred. We have 6 recommendations, 4 of which we are proposing be adopted by consent. And the consent recommendation is now up on the board. You'll see that it is recommendations 3, 4, 5, and 6 be adopted by consent. And that is moved and seconded, moved by myself and seconded by Lance Odland of the Presbytery of West Toronto.
Okay, so those Those are the
Oh, I'm
ones.
sorry. I'm sorry. It should be Ken McQuarrie.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the consent calendar are the motions to do with theological funding, dollar-based calculation, workplace illness injury, and
And the corrective case.
the corrective
That's
case.
correct. So the only ones that are not included in that among the overtures are the ones related to the International Affairs Committee.
Okay. Does anyone want to remove any of those from the consent calendar?
Moderator?
Yeah.
Jim Pott, is it working? Jim Pott, Presbyterian of Ottawa, requests to remove number 3, BOV 3.
Okay, number 3 is removed. All right, 3 is removed. We'll vote on the others. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So then we'll go to number 3.
To 3 right away, not to 1 and 2.
Oh, I'm
Whichever
sorry.
order you
Okay,
like.
yeah, good point. Let's go to 1.
Okay, to BOV 001, looks like that's up on the screen. Moderator, overtures number 4 and 10 both address the International Affairs Committee report from last year. However, the prayers for each are slightly different. Overture number 4 asks the General Assembly to acknowledge the Church's ongoing failure to respond coherently, carefully, and compassionately to the horrific events of October 7th, 2023, to the complex history of relations between Israel and Palestinians living in Gaza and the West Bank, and to the growing anti-Semitism of the Canadian context. It is the prayer of overture number 10 that the General Assembly condemn the recent rise of anti-Semitic actions against Jewish individuals, synagogues, schools, and organizations in Canada, to undertake a review of PCC statements and reports that may be understood to be anti-Semitic, and to prioritize the reestablishment of healthy interfaith partnerships between the PCC and Jewish organizations in Canada. While the overtures have distinct prayers with some similarities, the Life and Mission Agency Committee could review statements and reports by the PCC and address other matters contained in the prayers. Therefore, the recommendation from the Bills and Overtures Committee number 1 is moved by me and seconded by, in this case, Lance Odland, that overture number 4 and 10 read 2025 International Affairs Committee report be referred to the Life and Mission Agency Committee.
Any discussion? Microphone 4.
Jerry Verway, Presbyterian, Vancouver Island. On the recommendation, there is no time limit on when the Life and Mission Agency is to report. I know one of our members was very upset with the report that we received last year, and he would certainly like to see an answer to this overtures.
You mean before next year's assembly?
Well, if they come back to the General Assembly next year, that would be sufficient, but there is no time limit set on that.
Okay.
I'd be amenable if
If you'd
there-
like to move an
put a-
amendment, you're welcome to.
it would be a friendly amendment that they report to the 152nd General Assembly.
Are you able to do that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that my understanding is that would be the expectation that with all of these. I don't think it's typical that we add that in the Bills and Overtures report, but it would be the expectation.
But if you'd like to make it explicit, we can do that.
I would like to make that explicit, yes. If it's a friendly amendment, willing to go for it. If not, I'll make the amendment.
Okay. Yeah, we'll consider it friendly. So did you catch that? And report, there you go. They're fast. It's there. Yeah, thank you. So we're voting on the motion as it is on the screen. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
The next one is BOV 002. Overture number 6 also addresses the 2025 International Affairs Committee report. However, it is the prayer of this overture that the General Assembly acknowledge that the report from 2025 contains prejudicial, inaccurate, and potentially anti-Semitic statements. While an overture is the process used for requesting changes to legislation, doctrine, policy, or another action that is of general interest, the prayer of this overture appears to be asking the Assembly to reconsider the decision of the previous Assembly, similar to what might be considered a complaint in a corrective case. An overture cannot be used for addressing complaints. Furthermore, unlike other courts of the Church that have continuous standing, each General Assembly ceases to exist as soon as it is dismissed. The time for commissioners to reconsider recommendations and reports of the 2025 Assembly closed when that Assembly was dismissed, making the prayer of this overture out of order. Therefore, it is moved and seconded that overture number 6, Re-International Affairs Committee report, not be received.
Any discussion? Microphone 3.
Andrew Cameron, Presbyterian of Montreal. I just want to highlight that, and I'm learning here, that
Please speak close to
that
the
there's a
mic.
procedural error, correct? Moderator, is that why this isn't being received? Not be received because,
It could, yes, it cannot be received as an overture.
right, okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. It nevertheless invalidates does not invalidate the final whereas for the above reasons. You know, I with the Presbyterian of Montreal agree that the International Affairs Committee report is careless and inaccurate in many of its assertions and reflects a general hostility to Israel rooted in problematic and potentially anti-Semitic comments and statements. Thank you.
We can't change a report. That's part of it too, right? From a previous assembly. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Carried.
And then we have BOV number 003, which was removed from the consent agenda. Overtures 5, 8, and 11 regarding funding for theological education. The prayer of these overtures is that the Assembly Council restore funding for the 3 theological colleges to the 2025 level of $850,000 and to adopt as a budget principle that funding remains stable for these colleges for at least 5 or 10 years. The two were slightly different in what they were asking for into the future. As the Assembly Council is the body that proposes the budget for current and future needs of the PCC, the committee proposes the following recommendation: that overtures number 5, 8, and 11, refunding theological education, be referred to the Assembly Council.
Any discussion? Oh, microphone 3.
Yes, Jim Pott, Presbytery of Ottawa. Thank you, moderator. I did just send a motion, so if somebody else wants to speak first, I don't think it's ready to be up yet.
Okay, microphone 3.
Thank you, moderator. David Sturdivant, Presbytery of Newfoundland. I want to speak in favor of this motion. I think the things that the Change Leadership team have brought to our assembly, the focuses that so many of our churches are feeling the need to pour ourselves into. The theological colleges have been responding to these things as we're looking for leadership and ways to fill needs in our congregation. I enthusiastically support funding our colleges. And I wish that there was a way that we as the assembly could help get more money to them this year. But such things must go through the Assembly Council, and so from my mouth to Assembly Council's ears, please hear these overtures. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this motion?
I think he has an amendment. Oh, is it? It was an
Sorry,
amendment?
was it an amendment or additional motion?
I believe I sent it as an additional motion. Yes,
Okay.
they want me to come over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just going to pause a moment. Oh,
Presumably.
yeah, while they're doing that, do you have a comment on the motion that's on the screen?
No, I have a question.
A question? Go ahead.
Jean Luke from Grey Bruce Maitland. I have to look because I can never remember if Gray's first or Bruce's first. When you were speaking, when she was speaking, she said 2025?
When I was explaining it, I
Yes.
referred to restore, they're asking to restore funding for the 3 theological colleges. Oh, it should have been 2015. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
2015 level. Typo in my text here. 2015 levels is what they're asking it to be restored to.
Is it an amendment or an additional motion? Amendment, okay. So we'll wait to see it on the screen.
May I speak before it's on the screen? Moderator? Okay.
I hope it doesn't just say and report after 2027. Standing up helps. Somebody was talking about this.
There it is.
Oh, here we go. Sort of like answering the question in advance, but okay. Oh,
All right, go ahead, please.
All right, it's very straightforward, I think. So Jim Pott, Presbytery of Ottawa, seconded by David Phillips, Presbytery of Pickering. The motion is to, in response to overtures numbers 5, 8, and 11, that the for funding for theological education, that the General Assembly expedite the reinstatement of funding for theological schools to pre-2015 levels. In essence, not going to the Assembly Council.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what we were trying to figure out, where you were coming from, because motions with financial implications have to go to the Assembly Council.
They
So they must. Now, Assembly Council's budget isn't approved until tomorrow, but yeah, they must.
Okay, well, and then is it out of order, or may I speak to it?
Well,
or is it allowed to be debated, or?
If you wanted to, yeah, if it's not going to the Assembly Council at all, it is out of order.
Okay. Thank you again, moderator.
Moderator, may I speak to that? I'm at microphone number 1, Rod Thompson, Presbytery of Westminster. It is my understanding that the General Assembly can send something to Assembly Council with instruction. Is that correct? In other words, if this were amended to read, the General Assembly send the request to Assembly Council with instructions to expedite the reinstatement, then it would be considered in a different light and would be in order.
Right. So you can encourage the Assembly Council, but you can't dictate. So if you said that in response, funding theological education be referred to Assembly Council and strongly encouraged to reinstate funding, you could do that.
I like the wording as a friendly amendment that you just proposed, moderator, if the mover and seconder are amenable to that.
David? The mover and the seconder would be favorable to that.
I shouldn't make these things up as I go. Assembly Council won't be happy with me. Just a moment.
Moderator?
Is this about a point of order or?
No, it isn't. It's just a question. Daryl Rusk from Calgary McLeod. We're just wondering what was on your T-shirt that you received from LMA.
No, I don't. It's not here, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just maybe like Big Bang Theory or something.
It's the cover of the first Acts and Proceedings of the Presbyterian Church in Canada.
Oh, thank you.
You can get one too. They're available.
25
Their
bucks.
first sale out there.
23.
Okay. So, it's actually, okay, and this is a friendly amendment, so this will be a motion. Oh, it's still an amendment. Okay, I'm sorry. Right. Okay, so a discussion on the amendment. Microphone.
Oh, sorry, did you? Okay, yeah. Matthew Rattan, Presbytery of Barrie. I'd like to speak in favor of the amendment. Commissioners, imagine your business had funding tied to a depleting income source, and that formula hadn't changed in 11 years. This is the reality, if I'm doing the math correctly, of our theological colleges. As Reformed churches, having an educated clergy has always been a priority for us. I say this knowing that our colleges also have come to assist and equipped many others as well, including ruling elders and lay leaders. And contrary to what we might think, the denomination does in fact have money. Whether this restoration of funding be quick or incremental, either way, the robust work of our colleges is necessarily a part of any positive renewal for our work and witness as a denomination going forward. So I'd just like to share that in my encouragement while speaking in favor of the amendment. Thank you, moderator.
Okay, microphone 4.
David Robinson, Presbytery of Prince Edward Island, moderator. I am very sympathetic to those who appreciate and want to support in a robust way the work of our theological colleges. I don't detract in any way from the work that they do or from the additional work they could do with further funding. But when I was looking at this year's budget, there was a comment that we're in great shape. We had to draw down, and for many years we have been drawing down our reserve funds. We are not in great financial shape, in my estimation. We have a leadership change committee that is coming up with all kinds of new ways of doing things, many of which I suspect will require funding. So the work of the Assembly Council in managing our finances for the next period of time, I think will be an enormous challenge with which I wish them very well. But given all of those circumstances, I cannot in good conscience endorse a motion that I believe will significantly affect the balance of the budget. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you. Microphone 3.
Thank you, moderator. David Sturtevant, Presbytery of Newfoundland. To no one's surprise, I'm strongly in favor of this amendment. I think this is exactly the sort of thing I was hoping for. And again, I'd reiterate that as I think towards some of these priorities of our church of educating people in the changing context of ministry, in this modern world in which we live, being able to find trustable sources for information and for programming is so important. And it is truly a load off my mind when I'm able to trust our theological colleges that they prepared materials for us that we can use in our churches. And I'm not trying to do the double work of finding material and then also judging if it's coming from the right theological background or if there's going to be something on a slide that I hadn't realized, that sort of thing. So I'm strongly in favor of the amendment. Thank you.
Microphone 4.
Michael Brad, Presbyterian of East Toronto. I speak against the amendment. I do not in principle support single line item budgeting that does not take into consideration the entirety of a budget and looking at the long-term strategic points that need to be covered in terms of the budgeting process over a period of a number of years. And for that reason, I cannot support the amendment.
Thank you. No? All right, we'll vote on the amendment then. Oh, wait. Microphone 1.
Gordon Forbes, Lindsay, Peterborough. I support the amendment. We have not yet passed the 2027 budget, which this would affect, number one. Number two, it's the kind of thinking that we're hearing that is driving in the province of Ontario the demise and struggles of post-secondary education in the entire province.
Thank you. Anyone else? Microphone 2.
Dan Boateng, Kootenay Presbytery. I'm just looking for information. Could somebody tell us whether the student population has been increasing or steady or decreasing? Because the funding we are talking about is to take care of what they have on hand.
Who could speak to that? Okay. Okay.
Thank you, moderator. Mary Rosetta Coquet, convener of St. Andrew's Hall, if I'd be allowed to speak. I believe if we listened carefully yesterday to the presentation of the theological colleges, you heard, in fact, that enrollment is increasing. In the case of the school that St. Andrew's Hall works with, Vancouver School of Theology, it saw the highest number of MDiv graduates this year, which is not to say the number of MDiv graduates overall is increasing, but the student body is increasing. And if I may, moderator, if you include in students the number of lay leadership courses that are made available, it is quadrupling, if not more.
The question was about funding. Has it decreased or increased?
Oh, funding. I thought it was the number of students was the
sorry,
question.
it was number of students.
But is the
Very
funding
good.
decreasing?
Thank you.
Yes, because as
Right.
the only entity that is singled out for a 10% calculation of its budget, nobody else has that kind of limit on the funding that is made available. Yes, it is decreasing.
Okay.
And especially if the number of people are increasing, even if the funding were identical, its purchasing power is decreasing.
Okay, thank you. I misheard the question. All right.
In that case, moderator, I speak in favor of the, I guess it's an amendment.
Okay.
And I think it's not too onerous on the Assembly Council because it's just that they are encouraged or strongly encouraged, if I may add that. So they may act as it is feasible.
Thank you. Any more discussion? So we're voting on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? The amendment passes. And now we vote on the amended motion. Any more discussion? Microphone 3.
Andrew Campbell, Presbyterian of Halifax, Lunenburg. Just a question for clarity, because between the original motion, which would have referred this to Assembly Council with the assumption they would report back to next year's Assembly with next year's budget, and then the original motion that began with an expedited feel to it, and then the change to this, I'm wondering, is the prayer of this motion that is now before us that this will affect the budget that we are still yet to approve for this year, or is it the prayer that this will now go similar as it would before to next year's budget?
Moderator, as Secretary to the Assembly Council, given the nature of the amended recommendation, the amounts that would be involved, and given the fact that at this time we have the Assembly Council's report tomorrow with the budget, I don't think it's a realistic expectation that tomorrow's report will contain changes to the budget that would have to call all of the Assembly Council together to meet tonight somehow. So I think it would be coming back next year.
Let's vote on the amended motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Moderator, I believe that's all the recommendations that we have, so I'll move the report as a whole.
Report as a whole. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Carried. Clerks of Assembly.
Thank you, Moderator. Moderator, the Clerks of Assembly address a wide-ranging of governance issues as they respond to inquiries from courts of the church and individuals. The clerks also respond to overtures that come to us from the Assembly, and we also consider legislation of our church, the polity of our church, overseeing it in terms of, or looking over various aspects within our polity that could be updated to follow best practices and also the changing reality of our church. I would emphasize that when we consider these things, we look at the theological and biblical aspects that undergird the governance and help the church to live out our mission to love God and the world through our work. Before the Assembly this year, we do have our response to Overture number 9, which asks for essentially an extension of including those who are on the appendix to the roll, ministers on the appendix to the roll, recognizing that there's a greater reliance upon ministers who are on the appendix to the roll to provide various forms of leadership to support the work of presbytery. Since the Assembly and the church, the question before the church was discussed, studied, and reported with respect to the category of equalizing ministers. Those are ministers who are in interim moderator positions who could be counted as equalizing ministers and put on the constituent roll. We didn't feel that it would be too much of a stretch to expand that definition. And so, Moderator, should have said the recommendations for this report are moved by myself, Jeff Murray, Presbytery of New Brunswick, and they are seconded by Cheryl Weeks, Presbytery of Halifax and Lunenburg. So in response to the overture, we are proposing an amendment to the Book of Forms that would extend our definition of equalizing ministers and that this be remitted to presbyteries under the Barrier Act. So recommendation CLK 001 is moved and seconded.
Any discussion? And just to be clear, down through the Barrier Act, just very quickly,
Sure.
could you say what that?
So the church cannot make a quick change at the assembly with respect to doctrine and polity. And so generally, the practice of the church is, if it's a significant issue, to go through a process of study and report, which we did for equalizing ministers earlier. But some slight changes to the Book of Forms and to the polity, we do have to submit things down to the Barrier Act in order to be approved. And we'll see an example of that tomorrow when we receive the Committee on Remits, in which a remit comes back from last year's assembly, which was a change in the Book of Forms. Yes, it goes to the presbyteries and they'll respond back. If you look at your report remits, it gives an example of how that functions.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Moderator, since this was a response to Overture number 9, 2025, the second recommendation has to do with that this be the answer to the Overture in terms of the report above. Recommendation CLK 002 has been moved and seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Moderator, the next one is anticipating that this would likely be adopted by the church, which would affect Book of Forms 176.1.8, which we felt would become eventually redundant given that or unnecessary, given that an expansion of equalizing minister would allow for a variety of options to presbyteries to include ministers who are on the appendix to the roll as constituent members. But in this case, we're not pushing a change since a change hasn't happened yet. It's going through the Barrier Act. We're setting this down this year for study and report to see if there are presbyteries out there to which this might still apply and to receive feedback. So CLK 003 is to send a proposed removal of Book of Forms 176.1.8 to be removed from the Book of Forms, and that this be sent down to sessions, presbyteries, synods for study and report, and report back to us by January 31st, 2027.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Moderator, the next recommendation has to do with updating our Book of Forms to recognize the changes in technology. There are a few words in there that I did not know what were about, and when I asked a few colleagues, what's a mimeograph? The stories that we're told. Gestetner, the gloves, the ink, the cranking. So I've learned a lot about mimeographs and Gestetners and gloves and how those are managed. It's an earlier version of a photocopier with exercise, apparently. So we've made, and also in consultation with the archives, just recognizing some changes in how the archives are stored, and also the move towards having digital copies created for one's records. This section of the Book of Forms is being, we're recommending this section be sent under the Barrier Act for revision and some updating. So recommendation CLK 004 that the Book of Forms 27 be amended as follows and be remitted to the presbyteries under the Barrier Act, and the changes are listed there.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
We're on to now recommendation 005. Moderator, one of the joys of working in the General Assembly office and with the Principal Clerk, Victor Kim, is that we do receive questions, inquiries throughout the year, and it helps us to give attention to certain aspects of the Book of Forms. We did receive one question this year from a student through St. Andrew's Hall, which asks questions about judicial process, and something that highlighted a bit of a discrepancy And so we gave it some attention, had thorough discussions with Ministry and Church Vocations and with the Life and Mission Agency, and recognizing as we are updating the Safe Church policies to reflect good practices and some of the changing realities with respect to legislation, we want to encourage that when it comes to the safety policies of the church, particularly with the policy on harassment, sexual abuse and harassment, and also leading with care, that we properly refer to those policies, sometimes before going to judicial process. That we did find a discrepancy in the Book of Forms where there was an option available which did not align with best practices as outlined in the policy. And so recommendation number 5, thanks to the student at St. Andrew's Hall in the Vancouver School of Theology, we are proposing a change to the Book of Forms, 349 of the Book of Forms, to be amended as follows. So recommendation CLK 005 has been moved and seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor, oh, sorry, microphone 4.
Chandra Mannix, Presbytery of Calgary-McLeod. Please forgive the goofy question. The report that's on the website has this as number 4. And so I'm just concerned that I don't have an updated.
No, there's, so the reason why it's number 5, the revised report was posted online.
That's what I'm looking at. It says revised online, and it still has it as number 4.
Okay, so to clarify that one,
Okay.
the inserted update on the clerk's report had to do with recommendation
2.
yes, that this be the answer in terms of the report, and so it just bumped everything, the numbers down.
Okay.
My apologies for that.
That's okay.
Thought it was updated.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Moderator report as a whole.
Oh, stretching, okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, moderator.
Committee to nominate standing committees.
Thank you, moderator. I am Joyce Januszewski from the Presbyterian of Superior and the convener of the nominating committee to nominate standing committees. That's the longest title yet. Speak into the mic. I will. There we go. So just before I do the recommendation, I'd like to draw attention to the changes that were made. The report, the supplemental report, was posted yesterday afternoon already, so hopefully you've taken a look at that and you can see the changes. But I will draw your attention to them in case you did not have that opportunity, if I may. So on Assembly Council, there were 2 places or positions that were still opened, and we received 2 names, one being Marianne Igmit-Carr and the other James Clark. And so that filled those 2 blanks. There was no name change there. On church doctrine, we did replace the name of Alex McLeod with Deborah Stanbury to provide gender balance. The imbalance was noted at the committee meeting in March, but we didn't have the nomination then to make the decisions that we would have hoped to. And so with this nomination, we were able to achieve that gender balance. So the reason for the replaced name. And just in Life and Mission Agency, it was an error on our part of the committee that Jill Morris's name had been dropped. It was supposed to be there. She was not a new nomination. It should have been there all along. So due to an error, we put her name back in there, and it's been rectified. So not a change there in terms of what was approved in previous assemblies. On Pension and Benefits Board, we do have another name that we replaced. Gordon McCutcheon his name is being placed there instead of Alistair Mason. Alistair's name was withdrawn. For the Knox College Governing Board, this is the last one. There is a rename to replace the name of Bartholomew Alexander with Ferris Shamas. And the reason for this is that Knox College Governing Board previously had submitted the name of Ferris Shamas and now resubmitted the nomination. The candidate nominated by the board has a background in psychospiritual studies, and with this as a growing field at the college, his expertise is needed. Given that the report of Knox College Board and the direction they are taking at this time, and the fact that we did not have that report in front of us when the nominating committee was making these decisions, we have now placed before you the name of Ferris, and we're choosing to honor the nomination of the board and place that name before you. So those are the highlights of the changes. And then I would like to, if I may, I don't know if you need the recommendation up there first, but moved by myself and Lynn Allen, that recommendation number is NOM 001, found on page 7, that this be the membership of the standing committees of the General Assembly for 2026-27.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Okay, we have an additional motion that I believe you got it yesterday. It's NOMAD1 for the team back there. Thank you. And this is that the Assembly Council Executive name a minister, a diaconal minister to the committee to nominate standing committees for a 3-year term, 2026 to 2029, with power to issue.
Okay. Questions? Comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
We will move on to recommendation NOM 002, that thanks be expressed to those members of a standing committee whose service concludes with this General Assembly.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And if I may, moderator, just give the particular thanks for those who have served on our committee in the last 3 years. Fred Dewsbury, Susan Kerr, Colleen Walker, and Harry Curry was on for a year, but he's on another committee now, and we just wanted to give thanks for their particular participation and commitment to fulfill the responsibilities of this committee as they offered names and suggested names and discerned together the slate of nominations for the General Assembly's consideration. So then I would move the adoption of the report as a whole.
Report as a whole. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Joyce, for your leadership.
Moderator, I'm just going to clarify to commissioners, as it was posted online under committee to nominate, it was 15.1, but for some reason it says, hopefully you grabbed the right file, but committee to advise supplemental report. It should have been the committee to nominate supplemental report. but it's still 15.1.
Microphone one.
Moderator, just a comment on what the deputy clerk said there. James Clark, Presbytery of Huron-Perth. You might have to reload your devices because tonight, on a few occasions, I loaded up the page and 15.1 was not there, and then I reloaded and then it was there. It's possible that something's going on with the server or something like that, but if you're like, oh, 15.1 isn't there, just reload and it should pop up. Hopefully that's helpful.
And just for one last point of confusion, even though it says 15.1 committee to advise supplemental report, when you download it, it downloads as committee to nominate supplemental report. So that's just more fun.
So I have acquired this wonderfully stylish accessory. If it looks familiar to you, come see me and you can have it back. Committee on terms of reference, if you could please meet here in Assembly Hall following adjournment. So that would be John Pang, Jeff Crawford, Marianne Emig-Carr, and Aubrey Houghton. Maybe find a table over by microphone 2. That seems to be a zone with good vibes. For tomorrow, and I did a slide for this one to help you out. So checkout at Pond Residence is at 11 o'clock. You've got a couple of options. One is you can drop your key card in this thing right here before breakfast and just bring your luggage with you. We got lots of space here up at the front at Assembly Hall. You can just have it in here during the Sederunt, grab it at the end of Sederunt when you leave. Or if you are flying out, you can leave your luggage with the front desk staff at Pond Residence. I've asked for them to be there starting at 8:15. That said, that's getting really close to worship, and our final worship service is going to be a banger, so I really hope that you can make it for 8:30 and enjoy a final worship service together as the assembly. If you'll be driving or taking transit home, or if you just want to bring your bags first thing in the morning, you can store them downstairs in one of the rooms on the first floor. It's the one right next to the assembly office, room 109. We'll have that open for you. If you don't need to scamper off right away after assembly adjourns and you've been doing a lot of sitting and you really wish that you could do a little bit of physical activity, I am sure the staff would love it if you would love to stick around and help us load up some stuff and take it down to the loading dock to put on the cargo van. That would be very much appreciated. If you've been issued with a key card to one of the meeting rooms, so that includes the Yard Lounge, the prayer room, any of the meeting rooms that may have been used over the course of the week, please don't forget to return that either to me or to Marjorie and Catherine in the General Assembly office. And lastly, expense forms. If you have expenses and you would like some reimbursements, please get us your expense forms and we'll get those, if you can get them submitted as soon as you can, we will process them as soon as we can and get those reimbursements back to you. Thank you very much, moderator.
Point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, the pond office does not open till 8:30, so you can't leave your luggage if you want to do it before breakfast.
Yeah, so I've asked for staff to be there at 8:15.
Okay.
So that's why I'm suggesting if you're taking a flight, because the shuttles are going to be picking up from Pond Residence. So if you're flying specifically, flying out tomorrow, you can ask to have your luggage stored. If you're going to be taking transit or you're driving, please bring your stuff here. That way you can leave earlier. You can bring it with you at breakfast. You just have to drop off your key card. We'll store it for you downstairs on the first floor.
Now, I'm almost afraid to say this because I expect to see all of you, almost all of you who don't have flights tomorrow. But I've said to a few people, I haven't been to an in-person assembly for a while, and I'm very impressed at the attendance. Everyone's been very respectful of leave to withdraw. I know good Presbyterians, we just do that, but I just thought I'd share that observation. The assembly is adjourned to meet again in the Second Student Center of York University, Toronto on Thursday, the 11th day of June, 2026 at 9 o'clock in the morning. And Charles McPherson will offer the closing prayer.
Let us pray. O God, whose mystery is like the surface of deep water, reflecting the face of the one who seeks you, we bow before you this evening in reverence and humility. We have heard your name since we were small children. We have discussed you as we have discussed the weather. In the marketplace, we have spoken casually of our relationship to you. But for all that, we have not really known you. You continue to evade us, to rise above our definitions, to elude our search. Always when we fall upon some aspect of your being and think we have you at last, you evaporate like mist in a jar, and we are left with our empty containers. Only in Jesus have you revealed yourself in a way we can understand. Only in his love for the disciples do we begin to know the love you have for us. Only in his teachings do we perceive what it is that we must do. Only in his death do we see the limits to which we must go. Only in his resurrection do we glimpse the life that is promised to us. Gracious God, keep us faithful to these understandings, that we may remain in covenant with you, and let the power that is in them give effectiveness to our living. And let the gifts that are in us become gifts for the world around us. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Amen.